kings and queens. I am Divine. Thank you so much for your time. I'm so grateful that we have aligned. Welcome or welcome back to the monarchy. Okay. Yes, I'm a little bit more calm. Listen, it's like almost 5 o'clock in the morning. But we are obedient. So this is another dream, okay? And this one, I think I'm gonna name it something like your spouse is a different culture, ethnicity, and will have different ideas about gender roles, okay? Hold on, let me look up, because one of the numbers that came through was 6, 46, 3. Sorry, I got a song stuck in my head. It's just so late. Okay. So the number 646, it came through, and it means apostasia, which I'm thinking like apostolic too is the word that I'm getting, apostolic, but this word means defection or revolt. Apostasy, revolt. But apostolic relating to the apostles. Okay, Holy Spirit, I see. Okay, so this is something, so this dream is just about like gender roles, but also about tradition, right? Or traditions of man, like, you know, how we have certain roles and traditions and culture and things like that, right? So, but being an apostle, right, the Bible tells us, do not be conformed to the patterns of the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, right? So basically what this dream is saying is like, don't let this whatever, well, let me just tell you what the dream was first, and then and then we can get into what Holy Spirit gave me in terms of the revelation. Okay, so so in this dream, God used a guy from YouTube. Okay, so your spouse may have like a YouTube channel too, or they do the same thing as you. Work in a similar way in terms of ministry, but also it could be like in terms of your career, what you do. Like this person might be in the same field as you too. The person whose channel that he showed me was Mark the Messenger. Okay, but it's like this person, he didn't just show me just one though. He showed me like different like YouTube channels like in the dream, but they all had like very high subscriber counts. Okay, and so this person might be doing what you do, and again, it doesn't just have to be YouTube. It could be like whatever you guys do in common. Yeah, you guys have it in common, right? But it's especially like in terms of ministry. Okay, so yeah, their subscriber count was like 200K, 300K, like that. Okay, so when I met him, I asked him in the dream, I met him, right? And I asked him if he was Ethiopian, right? And he corrected me and he was like, I'm Eritrean. Don't ever call me that again. And like we started laughing about it, right? Because, you know, there's like a thing between like Ethiopians and Eritreans, right? Like I have a lot of Habesha friends and stuff. So, like, you know, I know like the tension, I guess you could say, that like, you know, and sometimes it's like light, but sometimes it's like serious, you know what I mean? But he like made a joke and he was like, don't ever call me that, like I'm Eritrean. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Right. And so we started talking about like food, and we are talking about like his culture. And I was telling him that I'm plant-based, or that I'm vegan, and that I like love Ethiopian food. And he was just like naming different stuff, like different dishes and like foods from like his culture or his country, right? And he was saying that he would make the food for me one day, right? And then this guy, he had 2 children, okay? And so the person, your spouse, could have children already or not, but it wasn't just a literal thing. It was symbolic too, and I'm gonna get to like what the children meant. But for some people that could be literal too, where like your spouse they have children too. Okay, so this guy, he had 2 children. One was a boy, one was a girl, and each one had a chore that they had to do. Okay, it was an ant pal that was outside, like on the grass, right? And the little girl, they were young. The little girl was outside and she was watering the ant pal. She was trying to get the ant pal off of the grass, right? And then the boy, he was watering the grass, right? And so an ant pal, Holy Spirit had me look up what ant pal means in dreams. And ant pals represent strength and community and perseverance, right? Hard work, right? Because ants work hard. Like it's kind of like the beehive, right? But just different, but different. But they also work really hard in terms of building their mounds, right? But ant pals on grass, well, they don't feed on the grass. The tunnels that they dig on the grass dry up the soil so it can kill the plants, right? It can kill the grass, so it cannot be good for the grass, right? But so the man started telling me in the dream, he was like, in Eritrean culture, the boy traditionally does that chore that the girl is doing, and the girl traditionally does what the boy is doing. Okay, so watering grass is not dangerous, or it can't harm you. You know what I mean? Like if you're just watering the grass, it's not something that is a dangerous thing to do, right? So the woman is the nurturer, right? The woman is the one that nourishes the relationship with the nutrients that it needs to grow and thrive, right? But ant pals can be dangerous, and I have a story about that. I was a kid, I stepped in the ant pal and I didn't know I was stepping in it because I was playing outside. All them ants tore me up. They tore me up. Okay, anyways, ant pals can be dangerous. They can. I know. Okay, so the ant pals can be dangerous. The man is the one that provides protection and manages any outside threats to the growth of the relationship, right? But also too, traditionally, like I said, the ant pal represents community. Also too, traditionally, the man was the one that went out into the community, right? He went out into society and did the more hard labor, the more work, more taxing stuff that was on your body, because traditionally women stay at home to take care of the kids and the home and things like that. But also it's because it was viewed that women shouldn't have so much toil on their body, right? Because they were supposed to bear children, right? So Holy Spirit is saying that this represents the masculine and feminine energy in the relationship, and that there will have to be conversations about the roles and how each one of you take on those roles in the relationship, because this person is probably from a different culture or ethnicity from you, or they just grew up in a different, if they are the same culture or ethnicity, they just grew up in a different background, so they have different ideas about the roles of a woman or the roles of a man in a relationship. Okay, and you guys are going to have to discuss what that looks like for each other in terms of your relationship, with obviously consulting God about that as well. Okay, what else? Holy Spirit. Okay, I think that's all. I think I said everything. Yeah, and then they showed me an actual person. So this was the description of somebody's spouse. Okay, so this is how you would know this is for you, or maybe God's been speaking to you about this, or I don't know. but they want me to mention this too. So the physical description, this guy, he was tall, he had like medium to dark brown skin. He had dreads, or he just had longer hair, and he had tattoos. Also, I got, again, like I said, he was like, in the dream, he said that he was Eritrean, so he could be African, or just, again, another culture, ethnicity that's different from you. And it doesn't mean that he's like, he was born and raised in a different country. He could just literally be a different ethnicity, right? There are plenty of Black people in England, right? That would be somebody that's from a different culture, but they might be the same race as you, right? You see what I mean? So, like, don't box it. Okay, so that's a physical description for some people, or whoever, one person, whoever that's for, I don't know. For some reason, the Spirit, what do you want me to say about this AMPOW? He just keeps saying this AMPOW. She was watering it. Okay, so also too, right, because the girl in the dream, she was watering the AMPOW, and like when you water the AMPOW, obviously, like, it ruins the mound, right? Like, they all disperse, they scatter, because like you're ruining their home. Right? So Holy Spirit is saying that for the feminine energy, right, in the relationship, it is, be careful, I guess, or be aware of your interaction in terms of community, right? Be aware of, I feel like this just goes back to what I'm saying about like conversation. Like, be aware of the community, or whoever is on the different, for both sides, right? Being aware, but especially they're like pointing out the feminine energy, right? The girl or the woman or the wife, right? Be aware and cognizant of the community values, the community traditions, right? Things like that. And again, it's not to say that you have to go by them, right? But in terms of respect, like making sure that you are aware of them. You know what I mean? And then for the masculine, right? Because the roles were reversed here, right? Being aware of and cognizant of what the woman needs to feel fulfilled, right? To feel nurtured, to feel like they are spiritually, mentally, emotionally in a place to, maintain and sustain the environment that you provide, right? What else, Holy Spirit? And also too with community, right? Because the masculine is it's providing the protection, not allowing community, again, like the Bible tells us, not allowing community, the standards of man, right? The traditions of man to dictate how you run your relationship, right? Your relationship, it should be ran how God, based off of God, not based off of culture and traditions and things like that. And again, I feel like this all just goes back to what Holy Spirit was saying, is that there's going to need to be a conversation. Like, that's something, and not just one conversation, like that's something that you guys are going to have to consistently talk to each other about, because there is going to be differences in those like areas in terms of expectations, or just what each party knows or believes to be true, or whatever. Okay, so yeah, I hope that helps. I hope that heals. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell button if you want to know when I post more. And I'll be back. Deuces.